One with the wind and sky, let it go,
Just
let
going
it
as high as
go.
possible.
They'll never see me cry. Here I stand, hit the light of the... People don't know the lyrics.
They just know the song.
Welcome to the dialogue, everybody. Andrew here, Derek there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Dialogue everywhere.
Okay. All right, Dr. Seuss.
That's right. So if you haven't seen our review for The Huntsman Winter's War, possibly confusing title, you can check that out by clicking on my face right now. And if you have seen that, then you're in the right place because it's time for some in-depth discussion, guys.
Let's get down. Let's get dirty.
We got a lot to talk about here. We can keep it all. We don't promise to keep it on the level. We do promise to keep it on the level in certain respect, but it might go off the tracks.
Yeah.
On the level, off the tracks. Also, mini spoilers in the wake.
Yeah, so
this video.
If you don't care about the movie, then feel free to stay. or if you've seen the movie.
Or like if you care and you just want that sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, you want to talk about it.
All right, so you mentioned this in the review, and I kind of wanted to talk about it a little more. Just a little. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not being sarcastic, just a little bit. The women.
Yeah, so...
yeah, so...
let's talk about women in film. Because...
let's talk about women.
Let's talk about ladies, guys. Let me get real with you.
Oh, please no.
Michael Bolton said it best. When a man loves a woman. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, anyway. Yeah, the ladies, man. The ladies in this movie. I feel like the movie presented women in a negative light. Now...
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally. The movie's dedicated to somebody's mother at the end of the movie, the strongest woman in my life or something like that, and insinuating that there were strong women in the movie. I was feeling like that's what I felt like the dedication was saying. There's strong women in this movie based on my mother, who was a strong woman. Now
there were definitely hat tips to that.
Yeah, the thing about it to me is whereas there are women in this movie. Specifically one woman that can kick some dudes' butts. I don't feel like her character was done justice in light of who she is as a woman.
Right.
So, like, what I mean is, I feel like the light that she's cast in is kind of like this sensualized kind of
warrior, like the like the female warrior type thing. Yeah, which is fine if done right. But yeah, like it just feels like it, number one, it's overemphasized, and then number two, the wrong qualities are emphasized. Right. So I mean, me personally, I definitely see what you're saying. And so there was one scene, and I saw it, you saw it, and you even commented on it in the theater. It was like
I was like,
she has this wound that she got on her shoulder.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
And she's like fixing the wound like a manly person. I don't even want to say manly person. She was sticking iron. I'm not even going there yet. Okay.
Wait. It's like this. Her shirt's like this normally, right? So, and her wound is right here.
She's wearing a sleeveless shirt.
It's a sleeveless shirt. Her wound is right here. She decides to go like this. Oh, I ripped my shirt a little bit. Oh my goodness. I love this shirt. Anyway.
Sorry, yeah. So, anyways, as I was saying, she's taking, like, her iron dagger, putting it in fire, and fixing her wound like a boss. Okay? Yeah. But she's doing it, like, open shirt, like, just like... You so readily...
There's full baggage showing. And it's obvious that, like, they're trying to get that attention.
Well, what's funny about it is, like, she fixes her wound and then, like, she puts her shirt back. And, like...
And then that whole shirt comes off.
I wasn't going there, but the movie sure did. And
the movie did. But that's what I mean, though, is that it goes there.
Right.
Like, it just takes that female character and
it does that before the good quality of the theme that I mentioned, like the commitment to love.
Right.
So it does do a commitment to love, but it goes there, and then it goes to, oh, you know what? I love you, you love me. We're a big, great, happy family. And Barney is in my head. I don't know why, people.
Yeah. Take it back to the G level.
So she gives him her amulet, and there's like, that was great. The story there and why it's important to her and her commitment there. The marriage in a land where marriage is forbidden, which, I mean, yeah. Anyways, that was definitely a fairy tale thing.
Right.
But I mean, that was beautiful. But it's always on the heel. It seems like it's on the heels of what you mentioned. That being said, the Ice Queen was done very well. Like, I don't think there was objectifying of her character.
No, I thought you mentioned like right at the beginning. There's like there's like this scene where it's like obvious that it's like, why did they have to put her in like?
No, that wasn't the Ice Queen. That was Charlize Theron's character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other queen, which is obviously, I mean, for me, also there's that too with her, but she's almost 100% evil. You know?
Yeah, so it's like, it's okay to sexualize her because she's a bad person.
She's a lady of the night.
Yeah.
And the mirror. Lady of the mirror and the night.
Yeah, so, I mean,
I want to talk about the...
there's that, but...
I mentioned the girl giving her the... Like, it was almost like she was proposing to him, which is another kind of female empowerment type thing, which, I mean, that's cool. But... There's also this thing that happened with that later that you pointed out. Do you want to talk about that next, or the thing we're calling Cheese-mance?
Oh, Cheese-mance.
Okay, we're gonna go into Cheese-mance. Okay,
let's talk about
this. Is cheesy romance, or as we're gonna call it, Cheese-mance.
You know what? Okay? That perfectly segues into that anyway. So.
I feel like that too. So yeah, there's just to spoil some more of the story. So there's this great team pledging to love each other forever. Live or die together. Great. That was great commitment. And then there's this breaking apart they have, which is kind of, it's not by their choosing. It's kind of forced.
Yeah,
because somebody deceives them.
Yeah.
The Ice Queen, who's all against love, and then when they come back together. One of them realizes that he was deceived because he thought she died, and then it's revealed that she's still alive.
Right.
She thought he essentially left her.
Right.
And everything that goes in that sphere, left her.
Yep.
When they get back, it's the person who had kind of the commitment to them that decides, okay. Well, I guess it's all over now. Like, even when they come back and feel like they could discuss the differences,
so
it was like, you know what?
The female character...
I'm done with this.
The female character who, like, basically essentially proposed and was like, I'm committing to you. Mm-hmm. Chris Hemsworth, who wouldn't? You know what I'm saying? For you ladies out there, wink, wink. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, basically they're like, you know what? She's like, I'm committing to you. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I commit to you too. I love you. And... Yes. The thing is that basically they have this moment where they've both been deceived, and they have an opportunity to talk it out, and they even start talking about it, and he's like, listen, we were deceived. Like, he even says it.
Yeah.
Like, he brings it right up. He's like, we were deceived, but you gotta love me because we committed to each other. It's like,
well, it was kind of like at the ice wall, we were deceived, and but I mean, we're back, right? And she's like, no. And it's like, you were the one who committed. You were the one who was like, I'm giving you my mother's necklace. Like, I mean, I guess that may be the question. Is it a commitment until I don't want to be committed anymore? Or, committed until you stop committing or something like that?
Right. Obviously the movie unintentionally presents that. I think. I mean, unless they were like, let's bring out the deeper thoughts of... Which, kudos to them if they did that, but I don't think they did that intentionally.
I feel like they may have not done a lot of things intentionally. But yeah, going to the talking, this is kind of what I mean by Cheese-mance, is this happens a lot in films, where I feel like anyways. There's like a romance that happens. It gets some rocky roads, bumpy roads, rocky. I'm not good with words.
It hits some
some
potholes.
That's right. Some snafus, and they have a chance to talk things out, and that's exactly what they need. It's like, okay,
right.
Especially in this movie, it was kind of like, okay, let's just 5 minutes. Like I want the movie to stop for 5 minutes and
pause.
Let's show
just spit
their conversation, you know, and let's have a great relationship moment here. Okay. Instead of doing that, usually what happens is they'll like kind of acknowledge it, and then one of them will shirk it off or something. And in this one, they're obviously stuck together, traveling in the same direction. This happens a lot too, and they'll cut. And then bring us into later in their adventure where they're like down the road to where they're going. The magic mirror. You know, we finally got there.
Apparently they haven't talked at all.
And apparently they haven't talked at all, which means that they like actively chose not to. So the ice in their relationship, to borrow the little
expression.
Expression from this movie, is just growing.
I like that analogy. That's great.
You know?
Ice on the relationship.
I don't know.
You're as cold as ice. Anyway,
we've busted out more songs. Like I think that's a fourth song.
So we're getting into the musical side of things.
Dialogue the musical.
This also lends itself to our next topic, which is the sloppy storytelling of this movie.
Yeah. Which took me out of the film in a couple different spots.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments in this movie. One specific part that comes to mind immediately.
Is it the bridge?
Yeah, the bridge.
Okay, the bridge.
The bridge. Oh gosh, the bridge. You're basically watching this scene unfold where there's these creatures known as goblins. Apparently, they're like apes in this movie. It's like Planet of the Apes out here. Okay,
it totally was. I was kind of intimidated by it though. I gotta say.
This reminds me of the Jungle Book, and we just saw it. Anyway, basically these goblins are coming flying out of the woods. They're all running. The main characters are all running away, and the Huntsman turns around at this bridge. Which let me tell you, these characters. I cannot stress enough that these goblins are like apes. Okay, they climb in the trees.
They're coming at them through the trees
in the jungle, and there just happens to be like this. I don't even know what you want to call it. It's like a mud river. Like you could swim across it.
Yeah, but it also I don't know. It did look like it was boiling.
It did look like it was boiling. So we'll give it that.
So but boiling mud river.
Boiling mud river. That's probably about 12 feet.
Nice.
Wide. Smaller than that.
Yeah.
No, 12 feet I think is good.
All right, let's go 12.
The bridge is only 12 feet long.
11,
like
12.
It's about that. But there's trees like everywhere, and the trees touch like over the bridge. So these ape creatures could climb through the trees. Let me say that. Huntsman turns around when he gets to the bridge and has this heroic moment where he's like, keep going, and then he like turns around and he's ready to fight. You know, and you're like, oh man, he's gonna give his life.
I thought it was a great moment where he was like, I'm gonna.
Yeah, and then he turns around and he cuts the bridge, which it's like, what are you doing? It's your only way across.
I wanted to be like it too. Like, what are you doing? There's no purpose.
You idiot. Anyway, he cuts the bridge.
I mean, besides the fact that they're monkey-like and swinging from the trees, it's shown that they can jump very far.
Oh,
like they're leaping all over the place.
Oh yeah,
they would have no problem crossing this 11-foot ravine.
Let me cut the 12-foot bridge. These guys can jump 20 feet or something like that, boy. Let me cut this. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that happens, and you're in like suspended disbelief. You're like, what the? And then
I was like, is he like gonna use the bridge for some sort of weapon or something? Because there's got to be some rationale to this.
And then the Huntsman chick, she fires this fire arrow into the group of these people. And you're like, for a split second, you're like, where the heck did that guy go? You're like, where'd the Huntsman go? Well, just disappears and everybody bursts into flames.
What I thought, which that was cool, because the goblins were kind of like tar creatures or something like that. Like they were flammable, which is cool. But what I thought was, like, they were beating him up. It was the classic.
They killed him.
Like, piling on top of him. And she was kind of just like, they killed him. This is what I thought. They killed him, but we still have a chance to go if we were able to like set them all on fire right now. So she like cool flaming arrow just puts it in there, and we have that great scene, and it's kind of like a very sad moment.
And then all of a sudden, the Huntsman somehow jumped this 12-foot gap and is on the other side climbing up. And he's like, hey guys, are you crying? Like, and it's like, what just happened? How did he get across this hole? Is it not lava down there or something? Is it not hot mud? I mean, I don't know. Did he climb the trees like he should have? Like I wanted to say baboons, but the goblins?
The demon boons? The bad demon boons?
I don't know. It was stupid.
That scene totally took me out of the movie.
The other thing that did was that end scene.
What part of the ending?
The part with
the mirror.
The mirror, yeah.
Yeah, because she was like, so the Evil Queen comes back.
Yeah.
And then the Ice Queen and Evil Queen have like this. I mean, everything's kind of unfolding. It's like, oh, you deceived me and that sort of thing, and great stuff. But then like it's kind of revealed that the Ice Queen called the other queen from the mirror, and she's really a spirit of the mirror that's attached to her somehow because she called it. So she's the summoner.
It. Yeah.
And then she uses that as like a means to say, okay, well, give me the information I want. And
like I have control of you to some extent. This is what it feels like.
And then later on, she completely doesn't have control.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it turns out you're not actually linked together, and she can just kill you.
We have no idea what is the science behind a magic mirror. How does it really work?
What happened? And then, the other thing is that they break the mirror, which kills her, but doesn't because, sequel setup, flying crow in gold flying away at the end of the movie, and you're like, oh, she's still alive, guys. You broke the mirror, but somehow she survived.
Which stinks because...
I don't understand.
It would have been so much cooler to have the Ice Queen survive, even though...
Yeah, well, you're like, at the end of the movie...
Better character.
You're literally like... Liam Neeson's voice comes back on, you're like, okay, I'm going to be okay with this.
I was missing it. I was missing it. If his voice stopped, like, at the 20-minute mark or something...
It was a little weird to have his voice come back in at the end, but it was like, okay, tell us the story. And then he's like, love endures, or something like that. Like, love is the victor. And then he's like, but every fairy tale doesn't necessarily have an end, or some garbage.
It was something like,
he's like,
something like no fairy tale ends, or something like that.
Yeah, no fairy tale ever ends, or something like that. And then it like shows the crow. It flies at the screen. I'm sure you'd have a beautiful 3D moment, but this movie's not in 3D at this theater that we went to.
Yeah, we didn't see it in 3D.
Yeah. I don't know that I'd want to see that in 3D.
Oh, man. So, speaking of sequels, unnecessary sequels, this just happens. I feel like either people are just kind of, what's the word, lazy, and are just like, we want to make money. People will go see that. Like, if we make another movie with approximately the same title, they'll go see it.
People love Chris Hemsworth. Let's put him in a movie.
That's not exactly like
make it racy.
The sequel element, although I mean he wasn't the first one.
Yeah, I think that is.
That's a part of it. Like
I think
bringing
that's
back
enough.
The character.
And then you put like these women in it and stuff like that. You're gonna attract the young guys. The young guys are gonna be like when their girlfriends are like, let's go watch Chris Hemsworth.
I mean,
they'll be like, oh yeah,
all the girlfriends that are like.
Oh yeah, Emily Blunt and Charlize Theron. They're in this movie.
This movie would appeal to both.
Oh
like, appeal to everybody. I mean, not necessarily all ages, but
it appeals. It's out there.
So I didn't necessarily think that. There's some part of me that wants to call it a forced sequel, but I thought the story was original enough.
You felt that the story was enough to warrant a sequel.
Well, here's how I would describe it.
Because I would say no.
We have kind of a good story.
Okay.
That was force fitted into a mold to make it a sequel, and that force fit was not good. So you have something like we saw. You can't even really call it a sequel because it totally was not force fitted. The Cloverfield Lane.
Right.
So that was. An example of that done like superbly well. This was not done well, but I've seen worse, and I've also seen movies that kind of start from the idea. And I don't know, this may have started from the idea, but started from the idea of let's just make a sequel and try to like string out a story from that. Whereas this one, obviously, there's something to the story.
Here's what I think is like a good set of movie sequels.
Yeah.
Toy Story. Those are good sequels. Mm-hmm. Every single Toy Story movie is good in and of itself.
This is true.
There's a lot of repeating themes and stuff like that.
And good together.
But they're good.
Good apart and together.
And they're serious. And that's the thing about them is I don't feel like those were made to make money. They were made to continue a story that they weren't finished telling.
Pixar is amazing. But can we just say that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically say that right now? Like the god of like best examples ever. But
the god of best examples ever. I love that.
But yeah. But yeah, so, you know...
In the world, the best examples ever. I am God. Says Pixar.
Exactly.
No, truth, man, truth. And the even though it was Liam Neeson, there was obviously, and this is the force feeding I'm talking about, a lot of exposition to make it fit into it being a sequel.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's the Huntsman, but we don't want you to get lost, so we're going to have to explain a lot.
And then there was the classic there was legitimately a classic 7 years later, like we're gonna have this prologue, and then it was like cut 7 years later, and then we unfold on our story.
Did Liam Neeson say that out loud?
No.
It was just they couldn't get him to say it.
He's like, no, I won't say that.
I'm not saying that line.
I will not say 7 years. If there's one thing,
what is this 7 years later line?
Kudos for him, because that's one of the cheesiest things ever.
Yeah.
Not that it's always cheesy, but...
most of the time.
Most of the time, yes.
Most of the time it's cheeseball.
Even the Fan 4 stick, the 1 year later, that was bad. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. That was bad enough.
That was bad.
But they had those all over the place, I feel like, in that movie, didn't they? Like, they had 4 years, and then 1 year, and then...
They had two, maybe 3. Thanks for joining us on the dialogue. We hope you enjoyed the inner discussion. Join us by commenting below. Tell us things that you agreed with, things that you disagreed with, because we love to hear those too. Mm-hmm. This is an ongoing conversation, always and ever, only, always.
Wow. That was deep, man.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
so also subscribe to our channel. We're making our way to 100.
Yeah, we're going to be hitting 100 here soon.
Yeah, be a part of that. And as always, join us next time on The Dialogue.